Hey YouTube, we are back again this week for another video portion of the Daly Dose Sports Podcast. Hope everyone out there is doing well this week. Hey, this week on the Dose, well, the show hasn't actually started yet. We should probably get the show started. We haven't done that just yet. Let's go ahead and jump into that right now. Wednesday, June 16th, 2021, you are listening to the Daly Dose Sports Podcast, and I am your host, Clint Daly, coming to you from the Mile High City here in Denver, Colorado, and we are back for another week of talking sports with a dose of common sense. Hey, happy Wednesday to you. Hope your week is going well. Hope you, your family, your friends are enjoying the nice weather. Hope you're all staying healthy. We are happy to have you here with us today, and we actually have a few things we need to talk about that have taken place on June 16th, because we actually have a few birthdays, some pretty good athletes, and we have some very important dates in history as well. It was on this day, June 16th, that Panamanian boxer Roberto Duran was born. Of course, he was born down in Panama. Do you realize, this is going to hurt a little bit, that Roberto Duran turns 70 years old today? Yeah, Duran held world championships in 4 different weight classes: lightweight, welterweight, light middleweight, and middleweight, as well as reigning as the undisputed and lineal lightweight champion and the lineal welterweight champion. Roberto Duran is also just the second boxer in history to have competed over a span of 5 different decades. The first was Jack Johnson. But you know, Duran was just such a versatile fighter. He was so technical. He would pressure you. And of course, he had those hands that earned him the nickname Hands of Stone, because Roberto Duran could hit you like a ton of bricks. I would have loved to have seen Roberto Duran fighting Floyd Mayweather, both of them in their prime. I think that would have been really, really interesting. Happy birthday to one Roberto Duran. And we have another pretty good athlete that was born on this day, because recent 2021 PGA Championship winner Phil Mickelson is actually turning 51 today. He was born on this day in San Diego. Do you realize that Phil Mickelson has won 45 events on the PGA Tour, including 6 major championships, 3 Masters titles, 2 PGA championships, and 1 Open championship? With that win just a few weeks back at the 2021 PGA Championship, Mickelson became the oldest major championship winner in history at the age of 50. He is already turning 51 now. But Mickelson is one of just 12 players in history to win 3 of the 4 majors. Happy birthday to Phil Mickelson. But it's not just birthdays that we have today on June 16th. We actually have some pretty important dates in sports history, because it was on June 16th back in 1975 that the Los Angeles Lakers franchise changed forever. Because it was on this day that the Milwaukee Bucks decided it would be a good idea to trade a guy by the name of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and his teammate Walt Wesley to the Los Angeles Lakers for 4 players. I mean, they got 4 players. What a deal, right? They got back Elmore Smith, Brian Winters, Junior Bridgman, and Dave Myers. Yeah, that's a pretty fair trade. That trade, of course, would change the Lakers forever, as Abdul-Jabbar would go on to win 5 championships with the franchise. That's not all. One more date we should probably mention that took place on June 16th. Kind of interesting to think about when we think about what's going on right now in amateur athletics. But it was on June 16th, 1909, that an athlete by the name of Jim Thorpe would make his pro baseball pitching debut for a team called Rocky Mount. Thorpe actually got the 4-2 win, but there was just one problem with him pitching. By playing semi-pro ball and getting paid to do so, it was ruled that Jim Thorpe was no longer an amateur, therefore he had to forfeit his Olympic gold medals that he would go on to win in the 1912 Summer Olympics. A member of the Sac and Fox Nation, Thorpe became the first Native American to win a gold medal for the United States. But when you think back to Jim Thorpe, this is one of the most versatile athletes ever. I don't care what era. He would have been good anytime. He won 2 Olympic gold medals in the 1912 Summer Olympics, one in the pentathlon, the other in the decathlon. He played American football, both collegiately and professionally. He played pro baseball and he played pro basketball in 1983. 30 years after he had passed away, the International Olympic Committee decided, you know what, we should probably restore his Olympic medals because the decision to strip him of those medals actually fell outside of the required 30 days. So after he was already gone, they restored his Olympic medals. Way to go, IOC. Solid, meaningless gesture there. You know, when you think about it, a lot of these organizations that are supposed to be in the business of like helping people, especially young people, but you think of like the International Olympic Committee, you think of the NCAA, I don't know, Congress, all groups that are supposed to advocate for people, they rarely actually do anything to help people ever. Hey, if you'd like to contact the show, maybe tell us your favorite corrupt organization ever. We would love to hear from you. Feel free to hit us up on email, dailydosports@gmail.com, or go find us over on Facebook or Twitter. Both of those handles are at Daly Dose Sports. Maybe you've got a question. Maybe you've got a comment. Maybe you need a little advice. Be sure to reach out. We would love to hear what you have to say. Also, be sure that you stop by dailydosesports.com because we are putting up new articles each and every week. You want to make sure you stop by and check those out each week. We'll give you something to think about, something to listen to, and trust me, it won't just be the podcast regurgitated again. We're going to give you something different. Usually my article is going to be something a little more Colorado flavored, although we will touch on big stories. And then you've got young Jimmy who is writing articles over there as well. Make sure you stop by dailydosesports.com and check out the latest work. Plus, we do have a link to the podcast. We do have a link to our gear. We do have a link to the YouTube video. So be sure that you stop by over there. Speaking of that gear, we're all doing that online shopping, right? Be sure to stop by tpublic.com and pick up your Daly Dose gear. You can see our standard Daly Dose gear here in the YouTube video. But we've got a few designs over there that you can choose from. If you want a sweatshirt, a t-shirt, a hoodie, maybe you need a new coffee mug for the office, be sure to stop by tpublic.com. They are always doing sales over there. Just search Daly Dose. You will find exactly what you need. Okay, YouTube, make sure that you go over and you check out the rest of the podcast. This week on The Dose, well, we're actually taking care of a little business. So we actually are playing a Daly Dose from the past for you today. We talk some NFL. We talk some Major League Baseball. But I had just gotten back from a trip to see some family in California. And I had taken a trip to that dreaded Mickey Mouse Kingdom. We discussed that a little bit. Plus, we have a Daly Dose top 5 for you today. Something for you to think about right now. Who are the 5 greatest left-handed NFL quarterbacks of all time? See if you can come up with the 5 guys that made our list. So make sure you go over and you check out the rest of the podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.